feel good about where we are as a team. I think we've are growing and growing in the right direction. We're still becoming one unit, realizing what our strengths and weaknesses are. We're getting better week to week. I did see some growth from us in terms of how we handled adversity last week. When you look at the tape, you're like, on the field, in real time, you're like, man, we got a lot to work on. But then you say, man, we're really close. So we just got to continue to harp on the little things. All the things that we're doing offensively, defensively is starting to show up. We just got to still chop wood and carry water. And, those old cliches that you hate to use, but it's just so tried and true. You just got to stay with it, believe in it, continue to work hard, not give teams opportunities, not help them in terms of our penalties. So that was a big thing of emphasis, and those things can be corrected. This week is going to be Louisville is a great opportunity, a great challenge for us to go on the road in an awesome environment against a high-quality opponent. You look on this tape, you look at the roster this team is built to compete for a championship in their conference and possibly be a playoff team. The way that they look, on the depth chart, it's really speaks to you. They got some dudes on that side, both sides of the football. They do some great things. Holistically, they're well coached. They play aggressive, and they're battle tested. That's what jumps off to me is that you look back at last year, certainly the teams that they played and who they beaten last year into this season, they're a battle tested group. And they can get after you. So it's going to be an awesome experience, an awesome opportunity for us to go out and compete against them and come away with a victory.
Coach Michael Burrow with the Toledo Blade. Obviously, their running back, Isaac Brown, really explosive back. What impresses you the most about him from watching him on tape? Oh,
man, just that. You give him a seam, Listen, like Gale Sayers used to say, all he is 16 inches of daylight. That's all he needs. It's just 16 inches, and he's explosive. He can make you pay. So it's going to be important for us to corral him. Everything starts with the running back. Isaac Brown, he's just a sophomore. He might have a room at the Heisman House one day. That's the way it looks on tape. But he's a phenomenal back. Doesn't get discouraged when the game isn't necessarily going his way. Through 4 quarters, you look at JMU, they bottled him up until he had that one explosive, and everything else just went from there. And again, you've got to have gap integrity. It puts pressure on you to be right almost every single time. The moment that you're wrong, it's hell to pay. So you got to be real disciplined in terms of your gaps and making sure you get him down.
Jacob Harris had his first collegiate touchdown, I think right in front of his dad, Josh. Yeah. Between them, you and Eric, even the Vandermeers and the Garcia brothers, what do you think of just all of these family connections within the program?
It's a family affair. I don't know if it was intentional, but that's what it is. It's awesome that you can have. I can coach my son, and the AD has a son on the team, and Jacob Harris's father, who's played here, is behind him, and it's awesome to see that the brothers, Rico and RJ Garcia, are also playing with each other. It's great to see that. It's for me, it's a dream come true. For me to coach my son throughout his entire college career, watching him grow each and every year as a man and as a player, and it's just awesome, man. So I'm glad to be a part of this.
Mark Kuntz, BCSN, keeping with this family theme, is it difficult to distinguish being a coach and being a father with Eric?
No, it's not difficult at all. How I coach and how I father are similar. I try not to talk about ball when we go home, but football is a part of our lives, and ever since he was a baby, he had a football in his hand, much like I had, and we always talk about the game of football, whether it's back then it was Ohio State or the Titans, or going to games, playing the video games. We've always talked football, both my sons. So it's deep in our blood. So I tell him I'm proud of him, that he's good enough. He can do all things if he just believes in himself and his God-given abilities. Challenge him to be better off the field as well. When I see opportunities to coach him and father him and give him advice, I'm going to do just that. I don't bite my tongue at all. So it's all in all, it's all the same thing.
You mentioned the 13 penalties. As you went back and looked at the film, are those all correctable? What's maybe your philosophy on penalties? Are there some acceptable penalties, or do you believe a perfect game is 0 penalties?
Well, nine of those penalties were pre-snap, and that's stuff that we can control. Staying on sides, making sure that we have the right personnel group in. When you look at the end game, there might be some holding issues we have to resolve, but we preach that every day. We talk about attacking with the breastplate, target, thumbs up, tight elbows, and that almost ensures you're not going to get a holding penalty. So the proper technique is taught every day that we're here. So we didn't necessarily see a lot of that, but the jumping off sides, and that was unusual for that offensive line unit to have that many during the course of a game, because we haven't done it in practice. We haven't done it all year. It was just something different, I guess, about the atmosphere. Could have been the excitement of homecoming, a little antsy, but those are drive killers, and we've seen enough of that. We get the ball, we're moving the ball methodically down the field, getting into scoring position, and then we jump off sides, and then we have to set up for a field goal, and then we have to jumpstart the offense yet again, and we lost a rhythm because of way too many situations where we're 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 18 because of penalties, and those are tough to overcome, and we were able to overcome some of those things, but they're generating a lot of energy, just getting the chains moving and staying ahead of the chain. So we certainly cannot do that this week against this unit, because they thrive off of your mistakes. Last year, Louisville had 34 sacks. This year, through 2 games, 2nd in the country in sacks, 10 sacks in 2 games. So this unit is experienced. They're very aggressive, and we cannot help them in that situation. So we're going to have to be very efficient offensively on 1st and 2nd down. So that has to be corrected.
Coach Clitcorp, the morning show. Follow up on that a little bit, the offensive line. You may have already answered my question, but that was going to be one of the strengths of this team. Obviously, a lot of senior leadership there. Are you surprised to be having this discussion with the offensive line right now?
It happens. I think when you have a new quarterback who's still finding his rhythm with the offensive line, some new nomenclature and terminologies that's being used, that could happen. They're very critical of themselves. I know after the victory, I noticed that some of the O-linemen were not particularly pleased with their performance and the amount of penalties that we had. And they hold themselves to a high standard, and that's good. That you can have a victory and feel like, hey, we won, but we're not satisfied. We know we left a lot of opportunities out in the football field, and for that unit to take that accountability, I love it. So I'm hoping that they can, put it together this week and have a sound week of practice, be clean, and go out there and put our best foot forward.
Stay in the trenches there, the defensive line. You guys had some success getting pressure on Liberty with 4 sacks, and looking at the game last week, looks like JMU had some success on putting pressure on the Louisville quarterback as well. You think that's an opportunity for you this week?
There could be some opportunities there. JMU's defensive front was very impressive. I mean, those I don't have their roster in terms of how experienced they are, but they certainly look the part. They did have some success against Louisville. Louisville had 2 weeks to prepare for us. I'm pretty sure they're going to look at the tape and figure it out. Their offensive line is very athletic. They come off the ball with really good intentions. They're well coached up front. And again, it's going to be a great opportunity for our boys to sharpen iron against a really good unit. And we're going to go out there and throw fists and be aggressive and play our type of ball and let the chips fall where they may. We're going down there to try to win.
As you know, the leading rusher for JMU against Louisville last week was a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you feel comfortable having our quarterback just tuck the ball and run, or do you think that's not really part of his skill set?
It can be. You saw a little bit of that. It was off schedule. It wasn't a designed run. I think we have to be mindful of how we use Drew in that capacity. He's not necessarily built to run the football multiple times in volume. I think it has to be a situation where it's strategic and is intentional, and we can't allow him to take too many hits on his frame. So that could be a part of it. You could see a package where we have, Lucian in and kind of taking those opportunities, but we'll have to evaluate that and see it.
I'd ask about the secondary as well. There were some busted plays,
Mm-hmm.
first half in particular. Working on that this week.
We've been working on the last 2 weeks. We saw that against Cincinnati, and that's experience. It's stuff that we've done day one install, and it's about your focus. It's about being mindful, knowing the situation, knowing the plan, and executing that plan at a high level. And there were some miscommunications yet again within the back end, and that's constantly going to be talked about and really emphasized throughout the course of this week and really for the rest of the season, because this unit is still relatively young on the back end, and we're still trying to grow and develop each and every week.
Coach, it looked like Dorian Pringle left the game late in the fourth quarter. Do you have any update on his status heading into the Louisville game?
Not yet. I haven't got that report yet.
Any more questions? I know we got someone from Louisville on the call.
Okay.
Alexis, do you have any questions? Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Okay, Alexis, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Just 2 questions real quick, Eddie. First one, Jeff talked about just kind of seeing each other from afar. What have you seen from his coaching career? And he kind of joked and said he's glad he didn't have to tackle you as a player, but what have you seen from him as far as kind of his rise in coaching? And then second, how many visits have you gotten to Louisville? I know you came once as an analyst, but how many times have you been to Louisville in your experience there?
Wow. Well, first off, Jeff's career, he's had a phenomenal career. Really impressed with his body of work through the years, certainly now at Louisville. Not surprised that he's got these guys playing at a high level. Clearly, he's a great offensive mind coach, but just all 3 phases, it's just well thought out. He covers a lot of all the fine details you look for a team. You look at how aggressive they are, how they play, how disciplined they are. They're fast, they're physical. So I'm not surprised at all by the success that he's having as a head coach, and I've admired his career. Certainly when I was an analyst there. So over the years, I may have come to Louisville a few times. In fact, Louisville was recruiting me when Howard Stellenberger was the head coach there, and they wanted me to play linebacker. So that kind of ended that conversation quick. But a good friend of mine, Robin Oben, who went to Fork Union, was at Louisville, played at Louisville too. So I'm very familiar with the university. When I've made my trips up to Columbus from Nashville, I would drive through Louisville, pass by the stadium, and little did I know that I would be playing or coaching there as coming up this weekend. So very familiar with the university, where they've grown, how the university's grown over the years in terms of going to the ACC, and just the amount of investment that's been made into their program has been phenomenal. And it's really awesome to see how sustainable it's been in terms of the competitive nature that you guys have built over the years. When you think about Louisville, you think about just basketball for some people, but they have over the years have become a true powerhouse in football, and that's sustainable. So kudos to the leadership and the vision of the constituents down at Louisville.
Thank you.
Jackson Cleather, ACC Special Teams Player of the Week for the second time. Just his season so far, and just sorry, Mac.
Okay,
my
okay.
bad. I was
Sorry.
reading the wrong thing.
I was like, hold on, okay, it's fine.
He was so good. No, Mac, Special Teams Player of the Week.
No, Jackson is having a great year for us so far. Still a long season to go. I think he understands that. He's just, again, it goes back to his preparation, his camp. He had a really strong camp this summer, stayed healthy, locked in, and you could see him grow from practice to practice, and it just carried over into the season. His confidence is high. Even when he didn't make one against Cincinnati, he never wavered. So, Alex Baird has done a phenomenal job of really keeping his count right during the course of the week, making sure he stays in rhythm with his routine, and being mindful of the surfaces that we're kicking off of at certain times to make sure he's comfortable. So he's going to be needed throughout the course of this year, because might be some games where it comes down to that kick, and I feel really good about really our entire special teams unit, on all four core, from the punt return to kickoff return to our coverage teams to our punter. Henderson's also been phenomenal, flipping the field and putting our defense in a good position by having them down inside their 5-yard line. So we're really starting to play complementary football, but yet there's still a lot of games to be played.
Thanks, Coach. I think that concludes. We'll see you in Louisville.
Thank you.